Hi everyone, my name is Sreshtha Tewari. I am a woman in leadership coach and a wholeness certified strategist. And today we are talking about 3 reasons why you should not question your friend when they tell you that they want a divorce. Divorce is a very touchy topic. Divorce is not something we grew up fantasizing about. It is not something we enrolled in our expectations when we were getting married. It is actually the furthest thing from our minds in our life. Our expectation is, just as we learned in story tales or in fairy tales, that when we get married, it will be happily ever after. There will be no discord. There will be no miscommunication. We will just enjoy living together every single day of our life. And this expectation and faith is how most of us entered into our marriages, expecting that magically things would be solved. Not a fair expectation, not a realistic expectation, but an expectation that is built into us from small when we read these fairy tales, unconsciously not knowing it. Because of this, coming to the realization that you want a divorce is one of the most difficult and painful things anyone ever has to go through, because it is the furthest thing from our minds, realizing that this is the course of action that we need to take in order to be happy in our lives, especially on a mental and emotional level, takes a lot of courage, a lot of heartbreak, and a lot of rethinking our future and how we see our lives. So when someone comes to you and they tell you that they want a divorce, don't question them. Most likely, out of all the women I have spoken to through doing interviews and through clubs and Clubhouse, a divorce is not a decision we make overnight. It is not even a decision we make over weeks. For a woman to say she wants a divorce, believe me when I tell you, she has been thinking about this for years. Maybe not even 1 year, but for years she has been trying to figure out how can she make this marriage work? How can she communicate better? How can she treat her spouse better? How can she upskill herself to please the person? A woman tries a multitude of things before she comes to the realization that maybe the best way is out. The person maybe have even separated from the person and have gone back. And even through all of those things, it is not to point out and to say, but you went back. That is not important at the point in time when your friend is coming to you. At that point in time, what she needs from you, her friend in return, is to say, I support you. Let me know what I can do to help. Because to even speak those words is a very scary thing. Nobody trains us for a potential break in a marriage. We hear about needing a lawyer, but we really aren't sure, and you actually don't need a lawyer, depending on how the divorce is going to go. It is not mandatory, at least in Trinidad. So when your friend comes to you, be supportive and ask her, what can I do to support you? The other reason you shouldn't question her is you don't know what she has been going through. Women generally don't speak about the things that are hurting them. And if they do speak about it, it is downplayed immensely. You can't get what someone is actually living through from they telling this story. I have had friends who has just told me he curses me, he pokes me, and at the end of it, the person was doing much worse than that. But I never got that in this story. So Women generally, because a lot of this is, we end up feeling ashamed to be in this situation. It is very difficult for a woman to realize that the marriage that she thought would be the most beautiful place and world and universe for her to live in is not what she expected. And even though it may not be her fault, there is a lot of shame felt by the woman for being in that situation. And that is another reason why it is so difficult to tell a friend, because your friend in turn, remember, has her own expectations, her own ideals, her own beliefs, and friends generally expect you to live in line with their beliefs, unless you have emotionally mature friends who understand that a friend doesn't mean having someone who agrees with every single thing that they do. As a friend, you may be inclined to question and to ask and to seek your comfort in her decision. But that is not required, because you are not living what she is going through. And whatever she is going through, however she is communicating that, know that what is going on in her life may be 100 times worse. The third reason you shouldn't question her is because as a friend, we don't need to validate another intelligent person's decision. We don't need to be comfortable with it. This is not your life. It is her life. As friends, sometimes we have an emotional attachment to certain things in life. One of them being the idea of marriage. And sometimes we have that propensity to project that onto our other friends who have realized that this is not a happy place for them. And when we move with our own ideals into another person's space, you may actually be retracting them or detracting them from what they need to do in order to move on with their life. And it's not with bad intent. You obviously have a good intent being her friend. But as friends, unless you are a psychologist, you are not equipped with the skills and the competencies in order to effectively help her weigh this decision. Only a professional could really help someone work through a decision like this. So besides supporting her, another thing you can do is to suggest seeking therapy and letting her know that you would support her or go with her if she needs. Because when someone comes to you and you are in your mind responding to that situation with your ideals, your emotional attachments, your experiences, you can actually be contributing to the person remaining stuck in a situation where she should not be. So I want us to just be open and compassionate when situations like these arise. Divorce is not something anybody ever thinks of or fantasizes of. It is an outcome in respect of a situation where a woman sees there is no other way for her to be happy. And even to traverse through the actual divorce is very difficult for anyone, a male, female. It does not matter gender. It is a very difficult situation. And as a friend, the best thing that you can do is to support and to provide support to go to professionals as the person may need. And if you are in a situation where you are thinking about separation or divorce, my best advice to you is to see a psychologist. A psychologist is trained with the competencies and skills to help you through difficult decisions like this. It is good to have friends for support, but understand that a friend can only advise you as far as their experiences and their ideals, and friends sometimes don't know how to separate their emotional attachments and their emotional commitments to certain ideas in life to what is best for you and your path in life. So I hope that this is helpful. I hope that if someone comes to you, you are able to provide the support that that person needs. You are able to trust that this is a decision that they came to from extensive analysis and thinking and weighing of risks, and that you, as their friend, are able to support them. This is Sreshtha, Purposefully Passionate. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you all again next week. Bye.